evening, everybody. My name's Rodney Wittenberg,
I'm Tim Hinkie. How are you?
and this is Just Guitars. It's the live podcast where we get to geek out on guitars. So, Tim,
Anyway, yeah. So,
tell me
yeah.
how the lap steel.
Here's one from the 1930s, and you can see that I'm holding it in my lap. Hence the term lap steel guitar. It had steel strings, and it was designed to play Hawaiian music
Yeah.
because that was all the craze back in the 20s and 30s, and there were actually acoustic steel guitars. Or Hawaiian guitars that were developed in the very late 19th century, sometime in the mid 1880s. They're played with a slide, which is just a a weighted piece of metal that you hold in your hand, and it's curved on the bottom, and you tune it to an open. You typically will tune the guitar to an open chord. So then no matter where you put the slide, you're always making if you're chording, you're making a chord. But, bending, microtonality, all of those expressive things that you can get by simply just moving the slide around on the strings. And, if you're really good at it, like some people on this planet are, it sounds amazing. It was in the late 20s, early 30s. When jazz players, swing players, and blues players started experimenting with this instrument, because you could plug it in, and you almost had an infinite type of sustain because it ended up being a very expressive instrument. As an instrument itself, it is an incredibly simple instrument. This is a 6-string model, and it has like a padding on the back so that it sits comfortably on your pants.
And it doesn't move, I guess. The
Yeah,
padding
I mean
is designed.
it's kind of like a suede, suede type padding, but it has 6 strings. It has a pickup down at the bridge. It has a volume. It has a tone control. It has a jack. That's it. So it is a very, very simple instrument, and this is a very early example of an electric guitar, and
Of
that's
a lap steel.
kind of
Is
what
there
a lap
anything
steel, right.
design-wise that's different than you would find on a guitar?
These fret lines are nothing more than markers. They're just indicators of where the scale would be. Each one of these represents a half step on the scale. So they're just indicators of where to put the slide to get the note. But I mean, your ear really is what's giving you the intonation on this instrument. So there are no frets to speak of. They're just fret markers, because you have a sliding fret, and that is that basically is what the slide does. So, that's obviously you don't have to wrap your hand around the neck. So the neck is square. I mean, you can see the whole thing is just square. And also the National Resonator guitars, they came in 2 different models as well. They came with a square neck model, which had the strings set high off the fretboard, because they were only meant to be played with a slide, and they also had the what you call the round neck model, or the standard neck model, which you would fret like a normal guitar. So they were played both ways.
Is there anything that's unique about the bridge or the nut on a pedal? I mean, on a lap steel that's different from a regular guitar?
Yeah, they're remarkably simple. Remarkably simple. On this one, it's nothing more than a piece of steel wire stock. That's it. It's just a piece of steel wire that the strings go across. Again, it can go straight across. It's not angled. It has no intonation angling, because you're making the intonation as you play it, the same as you would on any fretless instrument, be it a violin, an upright bass, a fretless bass, a cello. The player makes the intonation on those, which is why the bridges on those types of instruments all sit straight as opposed to being angled to, or what they call compensated.
It's so amazing because when you were comparing it to a violin or a cello, I mean, the instruments that members of the Philadelphia Orchestra are playing are over $100,000, and they are so amazingly well crafted. And that the way those bridges are handmade is mind blowing. And literally, it's just a piece of metal on this one.
This is a piece of metal. Okay, so those instruments, we're talking about how to get the best acoustic tonality out of pieces of wood that you glue together.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is where the craftsmanship comes in. The way the bridge fits the arch of the top precisely and makes really, really intimate contact with that top and in that exact spot that they want to get the best tone and the best resonance. That is a completely, the design parameters of those types of instruments are completely different. The simplicity of it stems from, its origin is Hawaiian folk music.
Yeah.
So it really is, it really did originate as a folk instrument. And it's actually kept true to its roots. But when you hear what this guy can do with, it's kind of interesting that it grew out of a very simple folk instrument. I think a lot of it just goes down to what happens when you release something to the world. You don't know what's going to come out of it.
Right.
Leo Fender thought he was designing instruments for country western players.
I want to introduce to you Selwyn Birchwood is one of the preeminent voices in contemporary blues. He plays like a man possessed, cleverly bending elements of traditional blues, funk, Stax-flavored R&B, and psychedelic rock into a cohesive and compelling and expansive, cathartic, artistic statement. Guitar player said that. Please give a big round of applause. How did music come into your life?
I was always drawn to it. I didn't decide to play an instrument until I was in middle school. And I decided I wanted to play an instrument because I always had an ear for it. I was always buying up albums. Even as a kid, that's where all my money went. A lot of kids were buying toys. I was buying more CDs and stuff and cassette tapes still at that time. And I decided I wanted to play an instrument. I was going to join band, and my sister gently told me, in not so many words, kind of shied me away from it, saying that the kids in band were kind of nerdy, not to say that, which is true. And she said, why don't you play guitar instead? And I said, okay. I always liked guitar. I grew up with MTV and all that stuff, so I always liked watching it on TV. And
what kind of records were you buying and cassettes were you buying as a kid?
Even as a kid, I had a very eclectic taste. And my first, I did an interview, actually not even an interview, I was having a cigar with my buddy Joe Bonamassa when I went through Nashville.
Yeah. That's a good buddy.
And yeah, man. And he was talking about, his eclectic taste, and he said some of his first albums, were polar opposites. He had a shredding guitar album and then a very traditional, blues kind of album was his first couple albums. And I was kind of the same way, but even farther in polar opposite directions. So my first two CDs, I was 9 years old. My first two CDs, the first one was I bought them at the same time. It was 1994, very popular band at that time. It was White Zombie.
Oh yeah.
Astro Creep 2000. And the other
With
one
Dracula.
was the best of the Coasters.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
And now that I say that now, it's like as a kid, I just liked what I liked. And I say that now, and it's kind of a wild for a 9-year-old to be listening to those kind
Oh,
of
that's very cool.
polar opposite sort of sounds. But I wasn't around people telling me what I should and shouldn't like, so I just selected and elected what I liked, which I think ended up better for me. I didn't have any bias, you know.
So your parents weren't influencing you on what you would listen to, or
A little bit. I always had music in the house, and my parents were older when they had me. They were in their mid 40s, so I was born in '85. So they would listen to the music of their childhood, which was a lot of the old soul stuff, old R&B, what they call oldies back then. I don't know what you call it now, super oldies
you're talking about like the
or
stuff from the
daddies or something. I don't know.
Daddies. The stuff from the 50s, early 60s,
50s and 60s. So my ears were always tuned to that older sound like that.
Well, how did you find the Coasters? Like, how did you even know that music exists to buy?
I'm really not sure, man. I think I'd heard, you know, a lot of the cartoons. And it's like even working backwards now. I'll see cartoons and stuff that I used to like when I was a kid, and they had all this old music in it. And I think I heard Yakety Yak on a old cartoon or something. But the Coasters themselves, their group was kind of like cartoons, you know. Their music was so wild, man, and I always liked it. I was drawn to it, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you start, and that's interesting. You were drawn to the guitar because your sister told you don't be a nerd. So, so when did you? So you started playing. How did you go? What did you join bands? Were you playing in rock bands or soul bands or?
No, I was just playing at my house, and you know, I was listening to whatever was on the radio, and I just thought it was the coolest thing, and even if it's just a simple song, to just be able to play a couple notes for my friends and stuff, and you know, I kind of got bored with it because the stuff on the radio isn't the most technically challenging stuff.
Oh, you're picking on the 80s. Oh no, I guess it would have been the mid 90s.
Yeah, 90s and
90s,
stuff.
early 2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, I kind of was getting bored with it already, and I got a Hendrix album. A friend of me was like, "Oh, you haven't heard Jimi Hendrix?" And I kept hearing the name, so I looked him up, and I was blown away. I was never one of the people that wanted to, you know, make spaceship sounds and that type of thing. I was more interested in the songwriting aspect, and man, I started digging back through his stuff. I said, what would possess someone to make this kind of music? And you know, you find all the old blues guys from there, Buddy Guy and Muddy Waters and Elmore James, Howlin' Wolf, and all that good stuff, man. So I just went line by line and searched out all those people there, and it's like a family tree when you start really digging back, and that's what I was doing, and I found Buddy Guy. I went to go see him live, and I didn't know anything about him, so just bought a ticket blindly, and I stood there front and center, and it affected me so much that it was 3-4 days later I was waking up in the morning still shook. And I said, what is this? And I sat there at the front of the stage that night. I said, I don't know what this is, but that's what I want to do. That's what I want to learn, and I've spent every waking day since, and it's kind of gone full circle now, because that was when I was 17 years old at the House of Blues, Orlando, and it was almost exactly, because I still have the ticket stub from it, it was almost exactly 20 years to the date. That was in June of 2002, and in August of 2022, I actually was invited to go sit in and play with Buddy himself on stage. Yeah, man.
Wow.
So it was crazy, man.
That is, what was it like playing with your...
I don't put everything I do on Instagram, so it's a lot of people don't know that I get to do a lot of cool shit, man. But
that's cool. Like, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like keep some stuff for yourself and the people in the room.
Yeah,
that's cool. What was it like getting to play with someone that you like just inspired you? Sit next across. And go,
it was very much a dream-like sort of a thing for me, because I was thinking about all that kind of stuff at the time. And man, I was absolutely blown away. And it's one of those things is people think that, you know, sitting in with a group or something is somehow going to launch you to somewhere else. And it's really not like that. It's kind of a selfish thing only, because I'm getting everything out of it. Buddy Guy just sitting back there gives him a break to have another cognac. So,
exactly.
you know, I got to play guitar on his cognac break, which is cool enough for me, man.
That's awesome. So, Did you get teachers, or after you saw Buddy Guy, what was your path to? Did you start a blues band like short after that, or?
No, I tried to find teachers and stuff, but I quickly found that I grew up in Orlando, Florida, and there is not a blues scene. There was a couple very, very, very local blues jams.
Yeah.
And I was a kid in high school, and I had listened to enough records already to say this isn't what I want to do. Is to sound like this. So I was just playing, listening to records and stuff at my house, and I was fortunate, at least at that time, not fortunate for the musicians, but they had Napster and that kind of stuff, and I was able to download a bunch of stuff. I was just really felt like I was hunting, trying to find the sounds that I was looking for, and I found John Lee Hooker and Sunhouse and Lightning Hopkins and all of these bits and pieces of artists that I really liked, and it happened the same way. I didn't have anyone to tell me what to like, so I just went through and liked what I liked.
That's awesome.
And I found a bunch of people just because I'd look at the names of the songs in the search, and I said, oh man, it says, "Bring Me My Shotgun." I said, I want to hear that. And then I found Lightning Hopkins, "Bring Me My Shotgun." And then, keep searching through there, and I find "I Ain't Drunk, I'm Just Drinking." I'm like, man. I said, I think I want to hear that, and I find Champagne and Reefer, and I said, I think I want to hear that, and found Muddy Waters, and it's, it was a slower process that way, because I'd go to the music store, and the blues section was about this big, so you'd still only find a few people. But
see, if you wanted to be in a boy band, you were in the right place.
That's right, man.
Orlando, Florida. So,
when did you first go on tour?
I started out, I was playing as a sideman in a band. When I was in high school, a friend of mine said, he knew I played guitar and liked blues, and he kept saying, my neighbor's got a blues band. And I'm thinking it's a bunch of drunk guys. I'm like, I know what these guys sound like in Orlando. And he brings me one of his CDs, and it was a guy named Sonny Rhodes, who's an old Texas blues man from Texas. And I said, man, whoever this is, you need to introduce me to them. And it took about 6 months or so, because he was always on the road, to finally get to meet him. And I brought my guitar over and got about halfway through a song, and he stopped me. And he said, son, do you have a passport? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm going to take you on the road with me. And I said, okay. And I'm thinking he's blowing smoke. And within about a month's time, I was in a van headed to Canada. And he took me all over the U.S., all over Canada, showed me what it was to be a traveling blues man, a band leader. And, he never had me off to the side. He always had me right next to him when he's getting paid, when he's doing everything. And
that was your school?
That was my apprenticeship, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like being on the road?
It was amazing, man. It was hard. It was one of those things that I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't realize it was going to be that hard. And, we started in Orlando, Florida, and our first show was in Calgary, Alberta.
Wow.
And I don't know if y'all are big geography buffs. You almost can't drive farther on the continental, North America.
Diagonally across the
So that's western Canada. It was an 88-hour drive to get there. It was an 89-hour drive to get back, and we drove straight through because he didn't have money for hotels and stuff to stop. Literally drive until, I don't know if you realize this, you can drive so long that you hallucinate.
Yeah.
And they call it black deer running, where you see these, I saw stuff running on the side of the road, and I didn't realize what was happening. It was extreme exhaustion and very dangerous, apparently.
Yes.
But yeah, I would drive until my eyes would go blurry, and then it's like, okay, time to swap it over. But that's why I see that they really encourage the young kids to, they push them up on the festival stages and that type of thing. And sometimes I get on the festival, we got this 13-year-old kid, and he plays guitar, and he plays Stevie Ray Vaughan note for note, and we can get him up with you. I'm like, nah, man, he needs to get a gig.
Yeah.
And it's not me being harsh. It's that you need to give them something to work toward. What I had to do to play on my first festival stage was drive 89 hours.
Yeah.
And,
so when
you
you
know,
got there, you were ready to play the blues.
Yeah, man. And I didn't know they had blues festivals. And I got to see a bunch of my heroes. And my heroes weren't, Eddie Van Halen or Eric Clapton and these type of people. I wasn't into that, man. My heroes were lesser known people that I was shocked to see them in person, man. I was starstruck when I saw Magic Slim. I was starstruck when I saw Guitar Shorty and Lucky Peterson and these kind of guys, man. These were the guys that I wanted to be like. And man, at the first festival we were on, they had Jimmy Dawkins on the festival, Big Time Sarah, and Johnny Winter was on the same Beltline Blues Festival, and man, that's what I wanted to do.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. So when did you break out on your own? When did that start, and how did you make that happen?
I was playing in Sonny's band off and on for about 5 years, and when I got through with college, I decided to go on a longer tour with them, and it was about 3 months I was out with them. And then I said, you know what, man, I'm going to start working towards my own thing. I wanted to write my own stuff, and I didn't see any shortcuts to do it besides pounding the pavement and doing it myself, and that's what I've been doing ever since, man.
Awesome.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
I just heard you mention college, and I did know that you got an MBA.
Yeah.
However, you're driving 89 hours and you're playing all over the place. Where the hell do you find time to get an MBA in there? I mean, it's just like, this is
Man.
like, how the hell did you do that?
I don't know. I was young and I had energy, and
I'll say.
I didn't sleep. I never stopped playing, man. I was playing as many gigs as possible. I was working a job that I hated from 60 hours a week doing that, and then I'd go straight to a gig and play for 4 or 5 hours, and then get 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep, and go back to the day job. And it's like I did that for years, and I finally got to it. I had an opportunity to go back to school and get my master's degree. So I found a expensive way to do it. I did a 12-month program that you did 2 years of coursework in 12 months. So me being a workaholic, I just diverted my effort to that, and I did 2 years of coursework in 1 year, and which it sounds more impressive now. I just needed to get it done. At that time, I was, eye on the prize. But yeah, I never stopped playing. That was actually what forced me, because that was my only income at that point, playing shows. So that forced me even more to find more gigs and to get more work, because that was my only means of.
All my students, either whether they're composition or instrumental students, I always say, study business, because you're going to study your instrument, your craft for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you study business, you'll know how to turn what you do into being able to make a living, and that is you just know the stuff that most musicians don't know, because they don't know how to take what they do and market it or sell it. And you got that, and that's awesome. I commend you for that.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So tell me about this instrument you got here.
This is a Cali DC lap steel guitar, which I heard you guys talking about. So I'm not gonna repeat what you went over, but I got into this lap steel playing because that's what Sonny Rhodes, my mentor, was known for. He played lap steel guitar over some hard driving Texas blues music, and I was doing all the guitar tech and all the driving, all the band managing and that type of thing. So I had to bring all the amps out, tune all the guitars and that type of thing, and I was always intrigued by the sound of it. And I said, man, after the first tour, I said, I'm gonna save up all my money off this tour and buy my own lap steel, because I wanted to learn how to do it and put it into my own music, and that's just what I did. And I'd played a Gibson lap steel for years. I was always partial to Gibson, but Dan Campbell, the Cali DC guitar maker, approached me and said, I've got an idea for a stand-up guitar design, and I wanted to get you on it. And it's like, he's telling me this in the merchandise line, and a lot of people tell me a lot of things in the merchandise line. and everyone's got big ideas and a famous friend or whatever. And I just kind of, he gave me his card, and I kind of threw it away the first time. But he came back again, and he gave me a card again. I'm like, you know what, man, this guy's persistent. Let me see what's going on with it. And I got in touch with him, and he's on the phone with me. He says, I want to make a Selwyn Birchwood signature lap steel guitar. And I was like, well, I kind of like the sound of that.
Yeah.
I said, well, let's see what happens. And he showed me a couple of his models, and I went over to his house and played some. But I gave him feedback, because I was like, man, if you're going to get me off of this Gibson lap steel, it's got to work for me the way that my other one does. And you know, he put a hotter pickup in it. My favorite color is purple, so that was necessary to have purple on it. But he has made a new design, and I wish I would have realized this has the cutout so you can stand up and play it. But I had a couple models that he got to me before, and I gave him feedback on it. I said, man, it's a stand-up lap steel, but I've got, you know, all this driving in my repertoire of career, and I've got back problems already, and this is too heavy to be on my neck, man. And he came back 2 or 3 weeks later. He said, I got something for you, and he brings me this, and he had hollowed out this side of the guitar. So instead of a solid block, he hollowed this out, so we got about 2 or 3 pounds or something off the guitar that way. He also made a track with this, which has got a screw here, and you can loosen this screw that's got a spring that attaches to this track, so it lets up the tension, so you can actually move this piece of block forward and back. The idea is if you loosen it a little bit, I've got it locked all the way down, but if you loosen it a little bit, you can bring it up here so that this part of the guitar is closer this way. And then if you want to play up here, then you just push it like that, and then you're able to get up easier access up here like a cutaway. But I play up here a lot, so I just locked it down here. But that's a feature that's not on any other lap steel guitar that you'll ever see anywhere, which is really, really unique, man. But I find that with this one, that I'm able to you know, get an angle of it forward a little bit like that, instead of when I was playing sitting down, you know, you're like this, and it's hard to get across there. So with it down like this, you're able to get up there and get the vibrato and stuff the way you want to on it, man. So I've been getting into a lot of the sacred steel guys, and I'm not a master of that type of stuff at all, but I'm just gonna pretend like I'm home, because I like playing just some of those old hymns and stuff, and just making it, you know. But that's what I like about the instrument, man.
Sweet.
Is that, you know, you can, and it's hard to figure out what to play by myself up here on the spot, but I can get all the I can get all the sounds that I like out of it. I want it to be aggressive. I can get it to be aggressive if I want it to be sweeter. You know, that type of thing. So it's versatile in that way. You know, that guy's so bad.
Wow. Woo.
Yeah,
So
man.
what do you tune? What's your open tuning?
I've got an open E tuning on this one, man. Yep.
Is there anything that made you choose that, or like?
That's what Sonny used.
Okay.
So that's
what you used. Yeah.
that's what I use, man. I didn't think about it. I just did it the way that he showed me how to tune it. This was built, if not last year, the year before last,
Wow.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were actually involved in the development of this whole instrument.
Yeah,
So that's
and also
interesting.
one of
That's
the
great.
other things that I went into when I brought to him was that, you know, it's a fretless instrument. You've got markings and stuff, but there's times that I have been on stage and you get a anxious or overzealous kind of lighting person that decides that they want to keep turning the lights off on the stage, and you've got a fretless instrument, which you can use your ear. But I said, man, if there's any way to make the fret markers, and I was just saying these dots, to glow in the dark, that would be awesome, man.
Oh, okay.
And he came back something better, and he actually made the entire board glow in the dark. This signature model has all the stuff that I, you know, could put my input to stuff like that, man.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So you want to play us out with one more tune? One more tune before we end our podcast
Yeah.
today?
Hey,
Thank you.
all
Thank
right,
you
man.
so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just Guitars Live.
And this was the show called Just Guitars. That's what it's called, Just Guitars. It ain't about the tuba or sitar. That's why it's called Just Guitars.